I should be getting the bath when we get home. The Whitetop Folk Festival was held annually from 1931 to 1939, except 1937, on Whitetop Mountain, the second highest peak in Virginia. Annabelle Morris Buchanan, John Powell, and John A. Blackmore organized the event that featured banjo players, fiddlers, string bands, and ballad singers, as well as storytelling, clog dancing. This is a real redneck fest, is what they're saying. Morris and sword dancing, and theatrical presentations. Thousands of people attended the festival each year, including nationally known academic, folklorist, art critics, composers, and in 1935, or 33, First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt. The festival was canceled in 40 because of heavy rains and floods and never reopened. Let's go see what we're... Actually, let me pull over and let this car go by. I brought my 9mm too, so I was really hoping to pop some shots off. Because I got a Glock recently, and I still haven't had a chance to shoot it. But bumpy. I think we got some erosion. Let's get this on first. It's hard to see the what's in the road with the shadows crisscrossing. But I don't really want to fall down there. He must have just re-graveled it the last time I came up, because it was, gravel. I suppose this is pretty packed down. Bumpy. Kind of wishing I had adjusted my suspension a little before coming up this hill. And it's set pretty stiff. When I have my son on the back, and it's slightly jarring. Pretty impressed with the stock Harley tires on this road. They're doing very well. There's no slippage or anything, but it's super packed. Going here, I guess it was drive 6 months ago. All right, well, it's probably enough time to get packed down. Oh, that's a big pothole. It was big. That would have been painful. It's a large rock. So I need to keep my eyes on the road and not try to look off into the woods for whatever's out there. Oh, so last night I left my freaking ignition on because I had all the garage lights on, and I went back in the house when I pulled in the garage. I wasn't paying attention, honestly, because I was focused on, I wonder how this video came out, and did the mic work, and God, it's freaking beautiful. I don't think you guys are going to be disappointed, but so I wasn't paying as close attention as I should have. And normally I have my radio blasting, so I get off my bike, the radio's on, I listen to it while I'm taking off my gear, and then I shut it down. And last night I didn't have it on. The lights were all on, so I didn't really notice the headlight. And boom, I go out to take this ride and stone dead. I'm gonna tell you right now, the sights on my pistol are really digging into my butt crack on all these bumps. Look how beautiful it is. So I jumped it with my truck, and got her going. It was dead. It was so dead. I'm not clicking on anything. The screw paint jobs, you know. So you can't peel out on some stones and enjoy that crap. They just totally bashed my man parts with the seat. I'm not gonna lie, it's tiresome horsing this 900-pound bike around these dirt, on this dirt, gravel, whatever. He's pretty. I wonder what that guy's gonna do up here. I think this is the way I went before. I think it just loops around. I don't know. Repositioning my gun when it's off. Well, the tires weren't scrubbed in before, they are now. Oy vey. Look at that. pretty, right? Well, I kind of don't want to turn this thing off, though. Oh. Maybe I should have bought gas before I came up here. I've been riding for 40 minutes. I should be able to start it. Yeah, take the risk. Alright, guys. Check out that view. I'm going to stop this for a couple minutes while I enjoy the view and talk to this guy. So, we'll see you in a few minutes. Well, that was about one of the best conversations I've had in a long time. He was a really nice guy. Sorry. Allergies. Man, we covered the gamut. From family to global warming. I don't think there was a topic we didn't cover. Politics, because, you know, we were both smart. What a great guy. He's telling me a story how he hitchhiked from San Diego. Well, before I get into all that, look at that view. Come on. While you look at the view, I'm going to adjust my phone here so I can see what I'm looking at. So I got my phone right there. Oh, what a fantastic guy. You never know who you're going to meet, which was one of the topics that we talked about. In this area, the Appalachian Trail goes right over there. I don't know if you saw it, but it's over that little rock embankment right there. And you know, I pick up hitchhikers because I like to meet people. I like to hear stories. And the people hiking the trail are always so interesting. You got to be somewhat of an interesting person to think about hiking 2,000 miles or whatever ridiculous length of distance it is. But, and he was telling me that he spent, you know, a couple weeks at a time on the trails. Some of the people that he's met, how in the 70s or early 80s, hitchhiking from San Diego to Newport, Rhode Island, I think he said. But I don't know if you can see, but you can see the Christmas tree farms. The dark green patches that don't look like clouds are all over the place. There's some fires going, and I hope we don't have any wildfires like we did in December, but see the Christmas tree farms. So we were talking about picking up hitchhikers and how times have changed. I'm not that old, I'm 40. And he had a solid 20 years on me. He said he was 62 or something like that. But talked about how different it was. I mean, I remember even in the 90s, in upstate New York, delivered pizzas, and this guy would order from a bar that wasn't far from our pizza place, and we would, I'd drive him 6 or 7 miles to his house with his pizza and drop him off, and he'd have to wait while I made other deliveries. And that was just, things were. It was good. You could trust people. I mean, he was a wicked drunk, and he was super funny. He'd complain about Bill Clinton. Always made me laugh. But it's really hard to talk with these bumps. But how different the times were. And this makes me sound like a super old person. Oh, I remember when I was young and everyone trusted everyone and we all shared a horse and buggy. I don't mean like that. I just mean that there was more trust. You have to be as cautious. There's always a couple people in town you knew. Well, you don't trust that person or believe that person to be an honest person. So you knew they were full of crap. I don't know if I'm going to have enough battery to make it all the way back down. But we'll see. And then you meet people like this, and they remember. They remember what it was like, and then still embrace that mentality, that desire for the world to be like that. Maybe it's a pipe dream and naive, but I could have sat at a diner with that guy and talked with him over coffee for hours. I mean, as it is, we stood there for an hour just talking. And that is so refreshing. Just so refreshing. Because we need that as people, as humans, we need that. We need to be able to interact, not with just family, but with friends and even strangers, and be able to talk and share at a level where we embrace each other's humanity, not all of the strife that we have going on right now. Political divides and people raging over differences. And it's saddening. I mean, it really is. It's saddening that we can't just have our differences, but still live together in the community and embrace one another as neighbors. I know it sounds like I'm going to cry, but it really is just the bumps. So it was nice. It was refreshing to just talk to a stranger about life, about family, talk about our kids. And he has a 35-year-old son. He could literally be my dad. That's how much older he is than me. And be able to talk like men together. And there might have been things that we disagreed on. Had we spent enough time talking, I'm sure we would have found something. But in the time that we did spend, there wasn't much that we disagreed on. Well, there wasn't anything. So, it was my philosophical moment of the day. Just try to, and I encourage you. As we spoke, we were talking about how funny it is to just, after we're talking about hitchhiking, about meeting strangers and how they can turn into, some really fond memories. And I mentioned, I'm like, because I love meeting people. I love people. I'm gruff and I'm bitchy sometimes, but I truly do care about people and in their hardships and the things that they go through, and I want to be able to help in any way I can, even if it's just a kind word. And I was telling him about the I always look for conversation at the gas station. I ask how people are doing. I mean, nobody just grows up and they're like, I'm going to work at the gas station when I grow up, and that is their goal. So they're there because they have to earn a living. Meager as it is, they have to earn a living. Got a kid to take care of. So I talk to people because I know that's not a great job. And I worked at a gas station when I was 19 years old, 20 years old. I worked at gas stations and I loved when people came in and genuinely took an interest. Except for the lady that tried to sell me Amway. That lady was a bitch. But the other people who actually genuinely had an interest in me as a person and left an impact on me. It always meant a lot. It always meant a lot when they would leave. It brightened my whole day. So when I go to someplace, and there's probably gas stations because I associate it with the experience that I had, I talk to people. I ask them how their day's going. I just and genuinely ask, look them in the eye, more than how's it going. And I hope that I leave an impact as they do, as those people did on me. And I'll share a story. And hope I don't get interrupted by a dead battery. I was working at a burned area in Utica, New York, and this gentleman came in, older, about older than probably my age, but older to me at the time because he was older than me. And he was, we were doing our normal pleasantries. And I handed him back his money, and I dropped the change in his hand. I held the bills out, and then I dropped the change into the palm of his outreached hand. Not from like a foot, just an inch or two away from the palm of his hand. And he asked me, he's like, why did you drop the change into my hand as opposed to setting it in my hand? And I had no real answer for him. He was clean. And I think he asked the question because he was a black guy, and I was a, typical white country bumpkin kid. And I think that maybe he thought it was, racially motivated, and if he was just questioning But he wasn't mean about it. He wasn't angry about it. He was just genuinely asking, like, I'm curious. Why did you drop it into my hand as opposed to setting it into my hand? And I could tell you right now, if he was a smoking hot chick, I would have graciously placed that dollar or that change into her hand. But he wasn't. He was a dude, just a run-of-the-mill dude. And the answer I gave him was germs, because you touch enough coinage and you touch enough people, you're going to get sick. And there's germs on everything, and people are gross. And I probably just got into the habit subconsciously of just not touching people because I didn't want to get sick, or didn't want to touch people, or whatever the reason was. It wasn't racially motivated. But it started a conversation, and clearly, because I think I was 18 when I had that job, and I'm 40 now. So 22 years later, it left an impact on me. And now as I'm older, and I can, as I think about it more, because it pops into my brain every once in a while, as to why you would, why did I do that? Not why did I do that, but what would cause a human to do that to another human? And for me, I really genuinely think it was because I just touch there was a lot of people that came into that place, and there were some gross people, but I could see the question, why it's a good question, instead of that human contact, that disassociation of people, when that was gradually happening during that time, and it's increased even more. Humanity, as much as we are interacting with each other, aren't embracing each other or touching each other. A handshake is a fist bump, unless it's business, etc. But even your friends, there's there's a lack of intimacy, and in some cultures, and I had a friend that was a pastor, and when he was in seminary, or whatever they called it, Bible school, he had a friend that was from Africa. And in Africa, it was customary for the men to hold hands. And when he told me that, I was like, fag. But it really wasn't. And I said it jokingly, and out of my, my own ignorance and homophobia at the time. Just was, being an idiot. But as he explained it to me, it made so much sense. And he said that, for the first 20 minutes, he'd go to his dorm room. For the first 20 minutes, they would sit and they would talk and they would hold hands as men. And it wasn't a romantically intimate thing, but it was an intimate thing. Like, you gain an intimacy when you're connected to another human being. And then after a while, you stop holding hands, whatever. You just get through that first stage, and it's a sign of trust and bonding between two friends to be able to sit there and hold hands. I'm not saying that I'm going to grab my buddy's hand and sit down on the couch with him and hold it while we have a chit chat. But I could understand and appreciate what it meant to do that, and how that could be enjoyable and bond us as people. Because it's really hard to get pissed off at somebody, even if you're in a disagreement. And that's why they tell you, if you're arguing with your wife, or your spouse or your significant other or whatever to sit there and hold hands and have the conversation, because you're bonded. There's a level of intimacy that you would not normally have when you're holding hands, and it's hard to, throw a plate or a punch at someone when you are holding their hand, unless you're just a sociopath and that means nothing to you. But I got off topic, and that turn made me think about something else. So anyway, I think that the disassociation that we have in humanity is a much greater, has had a much greater impact on our ability to have conversations and have about things that we disagree with in a civilized way. And I don't think that's just that. I think that there's a multitude, a multitude of reasons, and I have a long ride, so I might talk about all of them. But there's a bunch of reasons why that's happening, and I don't think that you can just blame it on the internet or blame it on cartoon violence or video game violence, and that's why people are jaded now. Because I like Call of Duty and have played, video games since, as a kid of the 80s. I mean, from Atari forward, I was enjoying video games. So, and I'm not a violent person. I could be if I needed to be, but by nature I'm not a violent person. So I don't think that can be a role, or say that that's a primary cause, and not just because of my experience, but I've observed enough people, been around enough people that have had similar experiences and similar lives, and to be violent and to embrace that type of violence, you really need to be immersed in that kind of violence, unless you have some sort of associated disorder that causes you to causes you to be that kind of violence and be that disassociated. And I said I was binge watching The Sopranos. If you've never seen it, it's a violent show. And you can see that there's that as that show progresses, and they talk about the violence that they observed as children, and I think that probably plays a greater role. When you're born into it and you become so jaded to it that you can then perform it without a level of conscious angst, then you're going to. But I'm talking about my original commentary was really about